Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another interesting video. Well, it's going to be a test on a FICM sent by a customer here very close to Virginia, Capitol Heights, Maryland. I used to actually work in there. His name is Antonio Alfonso. His FICM was, I guess, repaired by somebody else. I don't know when, but he still has problems. So we'll see that. I already performed the repairs because I took the decision that with FICMs, I will no longer take a chance to connect it to do tests, and then if explode in my hands, now I'm responsible to buy a FICM for the customer. So I will just do the normal repairs. Then if after my normal repairs everything goes well, then it's just a normal repair charge. But if I do the normal repairs, which you'll see all the pictures and everything, because I always document everything for the customers and to show you as well, if you have any computers, this will be the same tree that you will have. And I usually on other computers reproduce a concern, then call you to get you an estimate, and then you get the approval and we proceed. With the FICMs, I get the approval right up front for the normal repairs. But again, if I connect it and it doesn't run well, it's because it needs the pre-driver for the injectors. That increases the price for $700 because that's what I get charged from the guy that has it, which is only one person that has these components available. So I am in the mercy as well as you. At least he's been not increasing the price so far yet, knock on wood, because of the tariffs and everything that's going on. Let me guess 1 second. I forgot to put my iPad to see what you're seeing. Let me just connect that 1 second. And let me use OBS, which is connected to, or I am using to record. All right, so I now can see what you guys are seeing. So let me move you over to the display and go over to this folder. That is this is my computer and my injector. So I'm doing the test with real injectors connected to this FICM. That is Antonio's FICM and my computer again. All right, so let's go over to his folder. I will take a picture of how it came. It says when the truck is driven on the road, sometimes it has no problems, and other times it loses power and goes into a tractor mode, losing power and is starting to make a noise that seems like it has no diesel. So yes, I said, it's a little hard for me to reproduce a concern when we have no fault codes to go by. Tractor mode, it can be definitely because of injectors, and that's usually what it happens. So let me take a look of the FICM. So I opened the FICM, and as you see, somebody was here. I did a Mickey Mouse. That's what I call this. Not as bad as I've seen it in any other. With auto repairs, but definitely. I don't know what was this person doing. Left pieces of the old glue in here, and when you replace those capacitors, you need to remove that in order to analyze what is under it. Also, it went and resoldered all these resistors. These are for, give me 1 second. So I was saying that these are current sense resistors. So they're there to tell the components as a voltage drop, being, kind of like a protection, right? To tell the microprocessor and the injector pre-driver if anything is abnormal to shut, to shut itself off to protect. So those are very robust, and if you're going to resolder, replace them. So what are you resoldering in? And he's putting solder on top of solder, so that's not even correct. You never do that. This is definitely what I call the Mickey Mouse. And leaving, you can see right here signs of acid, and the same thing was under here. So the next picture is me with all the components removed from the board and clean, because it was dirty as I don't know why these guys do a repair and don't take the time to clean the board and make it presentable, because that flux is corrosive. You cannot leave it in there. It is meant to, to perform a correct soldering, but you cannot leave it in there. Especially not this type. The one we buy, we cannot get the ones the factory used to get, and those are different. But I did ship quick. The one I'm having here, you cannot leave it in the board. This is now after I remove all the junk that he did put in there. And as you see, I replaced all of the resistors, which no longer have that big bulb, you can see that's a professional solder. That is like anyone that attempts to come and see what I did on this board later after me will be like, well, they did nothing because it looks like factory. And that's exactly my goal, because I do factory level repairs. This is after obviously my repairs, and now with a protection code that I put, this is something that not even by factory comes with. And I have decided to do across all the boards to try to give these boards a longer lifespan, and that's for my customers. I always do that. Please don't ask me what kind of quote is that, or coding, because again, secret sauce. I'm not here to teach people, because what you see here is people that have seen what I do in my videos, and they try to duplicate it to do a repair, if you can call that a repair. I mean, look like I put the silicone with the fingers in there. I removed the silicone, and those capacitors were just wiggling in there. I mean, install not enough solder, and this is definitely what is creating the issue. So these capacitors are soldered incorrectly, not whole properly, and that it will create a problem. So yes, you might have run, or he was able to, let me say it slowly, he probably did run the truck for a while, and it worked. But as soon as that gets heat, the heat from the same components operating and they're vibrating, because this FICM lives on top of the one valve cover. So all that vibration moves into here. So think about it, those big capacitors not soldered properly and sitting in there, that is going to start losing connections, and all those solders were completely cracked. And it was just like, like a 10% of the solder was attached to the capacitor. So this is definitely a problem. Again, this is the board clean. You can see everything was removed, no garbage, even the garbage that he put in there. I resoldered all the components, replaced all the injector drivers, capacitors, everything is brand new. And I can show you this is exactly brand new. I have the exactly same components. The only thing that I couldn't find, it was the same color for the main capacitors, but they're the same company and same quality. So they make it blue only for the dealers. And I couldn't find in this portion that color, or in this component that color. But all the resistors and everything you see in there is coming original. All right, so again, this is a code that I put on it, and then on the other side. So you can see I protect the entire board. So it's like looking like brand new, right? That's a very different approach or look of what this was before. And obviously I'm going to put, the sealant, or it's a rubberized material that will harden, and it will attach to the board, but it will be a vibration dampening. That's exactly what that will do. And you cannot use silicone, because silicone rigids up, and it will just defeat the purpose. All right, let me see if I have any other pictures in here. Okay, yeah, this is now for my records and his records. His board connected to it, so with the picture of his, and you're going to see it on the video, obviously, but I always keep a record of everything that I do. All right, so let's go back to this capture. I'm going to put the SUS, the full probe, and the picoscope. So the picoscope at top, that is going to show us the signals when the injectors are running, and we will see what the voltage and the signature of each waveform. I have connected one channel to bank 1 and one channel, or a second channel, to bank 2 or bank B. The scanner will be just to erase fault codes in case something is there. I normally get injectors 4, 5, and 7, I think, is fault codes in here. And that is just because of injectors I have, but I'm not going to replace it, and I use it because it's actually a good way for me to know that, but it's no problems. I have repaired, by this time, probably, I don't know, maybe 780 FICMs with 100% success rate. Not one FICM has failed. And that is actually really good. And at the bottom, we have the simulator page, which is all I have it in there is because I'm going to show you when I put the RPMs. All right, so let me connect to my computer. Everything is powered on, so we're ready to go. Let me just establish communication and disregard the beam, because that is for my computer. All I need to see is what faults we have there. So let me read the fault codes. all powertrain fault codes. And you see, we already have, because I did run this before prior to do the video. We have 4, 5, and 7, but no problems as far as P1295 or P1294, which will be a bank of injectors now working. So let me erase the fault codes. Clear codes. Sometimes I have to reset the key, but we'll see. Nope, everything is good. So we have no fault codes. What else we need? No, I think that's it, right? So let me run it. I'm gonna put like 700 and so RPMs. You see, I gotta cycle the key. And okay, so right now we have both bank of injectors on the oscilloscope. I'm going to separate the signal so you can see that indeed both are there, and we can see 50.5 volts and 47.49 volts. So, and that's always across the board with these injectors what I see. And it's running both banks, so we have no issues, and that is great. Probably by now we have the 457 fault. Again, this is my problem, and I set up the anti-theft again because I'm using the VCM, and that's what I have to cycle the key in there, because I have all the immobilizer in place in order to be able to run this computer. But yeah, I mean, Antonio, this is running perfect. I'm going to increase the RPMs to see a little higher RPM. Yeah, there's a higher RPM. We can see obviously more activations of injectors with no issues. Voltage is staying nice and steady. So this is what I do. I usually stop the video sometimes and don't record more, just because I always keep this running for probably 30 to 40 minutes after I put it back in the case. Because right now, and this is very important, I'm going to snap the capture for there, and I'm going to turn the full probe off, or at least the RPM. And the reason I do this right now is because the board is out of the case. So the case, the bottom part, is a huge aluminum sink that the board uses as a thermal dissipator. So what it will do, it dissipates all the heat from those injector drivers that now are opening and closing real injectors, and I don't want to keep this running for too long. Why? Because they will overheat and they will get damaged. So I need to put it back into the case, but I like to show you here with the board out, and also because if it fails, I don't have to retake it and everything. But if it fails, the pre-driver fails, it will happen right after I do that acceleration. And I run it a couple of times. It's not that I'm stopping it right now and I'm done. But let me just analyze a little bit of the signals in here. So let's pick up right here. This is a good spot, so we can see both injectors, both bank of injectors with the same signature. So that image you see, if I would overimpose one on top of the other one, and you can see that they're pretty much a mirror image, and they're completely separate drivers, different injectors, but that means the computer is fully repaired and everything is working as it's supposed to. All right, so let's run this one more time. Make sure that we can accelerate and have it running, so I can seal it back up and then run it myself out of the video, not holding you here just to run a computer, because that's what I do. I just leave it connected in there, completely sealed up for 40 minutes, 45 minutes at 2,500, 3,000 RPMs to see if it fails, or if it goes into tractor mode to see if it's anything else. That honestly, I have never had any problems with this one that goes in tractor mode after my repair, especially when I see this Mickey Mouse repair that was done in here. All right, so let's try to run it. I might have to cycle the key. Yeah, you see what happens is when I cycle the ignition in here, I need to cycle the VCM off, turn the ignition back on, and now I can run it. Okay? And we have both. I have to take the zoom that I put in there, otherwise it looks like we're not having signals in there. But yeah, everything is running good. I can go down to 700 or so RPM, which is idle, and I can go as high as, I think it's 3,000 RPMs, I think is the maximum I can go here. And now I can hear that really, really fine because they're running at 2400 RPM. Everything is working perfectly. No issues in here. But again, I don't want to keep it running for too long. Not on, again, without the case. So yeah, Antonio, yeah, this is definitely no doubt 100% repair. So I'm going to turn this off. And just a closure for the video. If you have any FICMs that you need or have problems, I am your best choice. Don't waste your money because I have another company just called me a shop. They send it to another person. Probably they didn't find me till later. And there now is like, oh, man, we already pay that company like $800. I don't know if the customer is going to, well, if you need my services, I guarantee you that if you send it here, it will be 100% repair because they already got the P1295. And I think it's the second time they send it back to them and they say, oh, yeah, put them in a truck and it's running good. The problem is not here. And I said, I'm not sure if the problem is there. But again, I would not take, and I told them, I will just open the FICM to see what kind of repair I see. But if I see a bad repair, I tell your customer to be ready for my fee, which is not far away from that. And you will be in with a peace of mind because after I send you a FICM, you have a video running. You will be guaranteeing that you plug this in the car and it runs fine. It's no problem. Or if it's a problem, you know for sure the FICM is no longer a piece of the puzzle. So get your injectors out, replace injectors because that's the next thing that can fail. Usually when you have problems with injectors, you get a specific faults in injectors and the injectors take down, obviously, the FICM. They get shorted, they can short a computer, right? Because the FICM is in charge 100% of those signals. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.